What's up and welcome to My Point of View. I am your fat and opinionated host, and when the search warrant for Bryan Kohberger's apartment was unsealed, I noticed that a lot of people got discouraged. They got discouraged because they believed that they didn't find enough evidence in Bryan Kohberger's apartment to really pin him with this crime. And a lot of people think that the cell phone pings and things of that nature just aren't enough to show that Bryan is guilty. Now, I'm on the opposite end. I feel really positive about what they found in Bryan's apartment. And like I've told you all, if one of those hairs that they found belongs to one of the victims or one of the victim's dogs, then that is an absolute home run, at least in my opinion. Of course, I am no lawyer. I am no legal expert. I am no judge. I'm just telling you all what I think. Like I said, I'm no expert. I've looked into these cases before, or cases like this before, and I think that's a damning piece of evidence. But what I keep trying to remind people is that Bryan Kohberger's apartment isn't the only thing we're dealing with here. We don't know what investigators found at Bryan Kohberger's parents' house. They searched that house as well. We know they gathered some trash that Bryan threw into a neighbor's trash can. What else could they have possibly found at Bryan Kohberger's parents' house? But more importantly, there's also Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. We know they searched that vehicle. We don't know what they found in it yet. Hopefully we will find out. But as of right now, the only search warrant that has been unsealed was for Bryan's apartment. So keep in mind that we probably don't even know the extent of what they found in Bryan's apartment because, they had to go through his computers and notebooks and writings. I saw that they took plenty of notebooks and stuff out of there. Of course, he was a college student. Maybe there was nothing significant there. But who knows what they may have found on his computer. But what we're here to talk about today is Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. Because everyone seems to believe that what is found in Bryan's vehicle will be crucial to this case. You all hear my opinions about this story all the time. I want you all to hear from some of the experts who are now speaking out about Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. Joseph Gisalone, professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, says the vehicle will take center stage. If investigators have identified blood or any trace of evidence from the victims and Kohberger's vehicle, that would be huge, he said. If they can uncover evidence of trying to get rid of evidence, such as bleach, that will also be damning for the defense. Duncan Levine, managing partner of Levine and Associates, says, Kohberger's car is a critical piece of evidence because he allegedly changed the title and license plate to the car 5 days after the crime. And it was seen on video driving around the area of the house where the crime took place. It may also be used if law enforcement is able to find any forensic evidence in the car, like blood. Given today's forensic technology, you can't clean your car well enough to cover up what law enforcement can find. And great points there from both of these people. They're not just looking for blood spatters and things like that. They're looking to see if any cleaning agents have been used. They could go through Bryan Kohberger's car and find no DNA, no blood, no anything. But if they find that he was using bleach and stuff to clean out the inside of his car, that can and will probably be used against him. And I understand why. So in these investigations, They aren't always looking for blood per se. Often they're looking for chemical agents or cleaning supplies that are used to clean away evidence. But like this guy says, I mean, with today's technology, it's hard to wipe this stuff away. And even if nothing is found inside the car, they're going to bring up the fact that this car, was seen on video in the area. And they're going to bring up the fact that he changed the license plate and the title a few days after the crime, which is really fishy in itself. And if you ask me, I would think that Bryan Kohberger would be smarter than that. Smarter than to do something like that. That's a huge red flag. But let's go forward because there are some other experts speaking out as well. Michael McCauley, former federal prosecutor and elected state attorney, says the vehicle's movements before, during, and after the crime will be key. That surely will play an important role in connecting Kohberger to the crime. Joseph Scott Morgan, professor of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University in Alabama, says prosecutors will seek to demonstrate that Kohberger's vehicle was used to follow the victims, purchase items for use in the crimes, arrive to and flee the crime scene, and travel across the country to avoid prosecution. And if anything from the victims is found in the vehicle, especially DNA, that would of course be damning. The key is, what is the source of the sample? Skin, blood, something else, he said? Skin is much easier to explain away. But if it is bloody, it would be very difficult to explain, he said. This car will have been taken apart down to its base elements. Seat cushions and armrests, dashboards, subflooring. This car will make an appearance in court piece by piece. Now that's really interesting. He's suggesting that they're going to take this entire car apart, and that you're going to see parts of this car show up in court during the trial. But that's another thing to think about. It's crazy when you really sit down and think about it. This whole thing is going to revolve around Kohberger's car. They're going to try to find security cam footage and photos of Bryan Kohberger's car being in certain areas. They're going to try to find security cam footage and photos of Bryan Kohberger's car being at Home Depot or the grocery store or somewhere to buy cleaning supplies. They're going to track everywhere his car was, and they're going to ultimately use it against him. And like I've been telling you all, this cross-country trip to Pennsylvania, highly suspect, highly fishy, and that will be used against him as well because it makes you look guilty as heck, right? So, of course, lawyers are going to bring up the fact that, hey, you chose to change the title and the license plate on your car, and then you drove it across country? Really odd and fishy. It makes you look guilty. But let's go forward. Naima Ramini, president and co-founder of West Coast Trial Lawyers, says, the vehicle would be better evidence if surveillance footage had captured the license plate. The Hyundai Elantra would be better evidence if the prosecution had a license plate or if they could at least narrow down the year of the vehicle. For now, it's more of an investigative tool or weak circumstantial evidence that won't be the focus of the state's case. But he added, of course, we still don't know what the search warrant of the car revealed. If criminalists found the victim's blood, that's smoking gun evidence that will put Kohberger on death row. So this last expert that we heard from basically tried to write all of this off as if it's nothing. So we're hearing conflicting different things according to what expert you want to listen to. Most of them seem to believe that Bryan Kohberger's vehicle will almost be the centerpiece of this trial. Whereas the last expert we heard from, he thinks it's a big nothing burger, no pun intended, unless they find something in the car like blood. And if they do, then it's basically, you could go ahead and kiss Kohberger goodbye. You could go ahead and throw away the key. Kohberger will be on death row, he says. So what do you all think? Do you think that the key to solving this crime will be found in Kohberger's vehicle? Do you think the key to solving this crime was already found in his apartment? Do you think they will find anything at his parents' house? I personally think that they're going to find a little bit of something everywhere. I think that when they take everything they've gathered from Bryan's apartment, they take what they found in his car, and then they take what they found at his house, and then they add that together with the cell phone pings, the car being on surveillance camera. I think it's all going to come together and paint a picture. I was going to say paint a pretty picture, but this picture ain't so pretty. I do believe that they're going to be able to piece everything together. I cannot wait until we find out what they found in that car. I do believe that this car is going to be brought up. That last expert who acts like the car is a big nothing burger, no way, Jose, okay? No way, because we have Bryan changing the title. We have Bryan changing the license plate. We have Bryan driving across country. There's possible evidence in the car. This car is most definitely going to be brought up multiple times in this trial, and it will be used against Bryan Kohberger. But let me know all of your opinions down in the comment section. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell. And I will talk to you all in the next video. Always remember, though, to remain opinionated.